It's that time again. It is Tiger Vision. We are Duval. We're back for episode 11 of Tiger Vision. We are Duval. Um, Welcome to the jungle, as they say. Madre Allen, your host. Um, Here, we got a familiar face from the Edward Waters men basketball staff. Assistant coach Chris Reedy. Chris, filling in for Huff today. How you doing, man?
Man, doing well. Little surprise. I know it says Coach Huff, but you got me. But um, it's a blessing to work for a guy that still works like an assistant on the road. So he's got to be out there doing his thing and doing recruiting and stuff. So that is a blessing.
Hey, this is the best time to be out. We got a big win. Uh, against the number one seed, you get a big win, and then you go out on the road and you're trying to find the next Tigers.
Yeah, this weekend I think sent a lot of buzz out around not just the city but the conference and everything about us. Arguably playing the toughest swing of the especially our side of the conference, playing Clark and Morehouse back to back same week.
Yep.
Two of the top teams, two of the most on paper talented teams in the league. And I know we'll get more into it, but coming up just a little short on Clark and then bouncing right back and clipping Morehouse. I mean, it definitely got some buzz going around this, not just the city of Jacksonville, but SIAC and kind of everybody around, because even I and my recruits, that are a little bit different places, a couple states away, when they started seeing text message or the tweets that we beat Morehouse and Clark, the buzz from them was just like, man, coach, like, that's big. I was like, yeah,
Got it going. We'll take a look in at that schedule. You mentioned how tough the schedule was going to be, and it is a pretty tough slate. But you guys have scheduled tough all year, so
Yeah.
we'll take a look and put the schedule up on the screen here, Reedy, and we'll talk about it. You guys, um, got the win against Fort Valley, 102-81. Got a big performance from Amari Floyd in that game. Uh, but let's get into the Clark Atlanta game as we kind of look at the schedule with Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, Savannah State coming up, and then in the month off with Benedict, a very tough game, and then Allen back to back, which I imagine with the pace of play that everybody plays, like, that is tough turnarounds to go Saturday at Savannah State or Saturday at home versus Savannah State, Monday against Benedict, then Wednesday against Allen. Pretty tough to go back to back.
The funny thing there is, if you want to scroll down a little bit more, you see that Allen's right behind it Saturday after just playing them, and then Benedict follows that.
Oh my! You're right.
Like, we're in a stretch where we're about to play. I think we were talking about like 5 and 9 days.
Yeah, and
it's good teams.
A lot of the teams at the top of the SIAC East. I'll stop putting you guys in the SEC, but
if keep putting us there, hopefully, things come, like the SEC East.
We've heard. Hey, listen, there have been rumors swirling in the SIAC. I'll stay away from those, but there have been rumors of schools going Division I. But as we look at the SIAC here, and if I share the right screen, you'll be able to see that. But here we go. We'll look at the SIAC here, and I'll give our audience just a little bit better of a view. We'll increase the size on this one. And as you see, Morehouse still at the top. Benedict here in second place. Clark Atlanta, and then Edward Waters. Like, it's a game, one game separating,
I think
uh,
if I
two, three,
look,
four.
yeah, if I looked at it, it's a game and a half separates 1 through 4, and then 2 games separates like 1 through 6. I think.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, it's brutal, and everybody's good. I mean, you think about it, Benedict's not winning it, and they're top 10 in the nation.
100%.
So
100%.
and Morehouse just so it's like it's brutal. Like Clark, Clark Atlanta's got a bunch of transfers and talent. Us, Allen's been so much improved. Savannah, like I said, I think they won it just 2 years ago. I think maybe last year. I mean, it's brutal, and then obviously all the seeding that goes into the conference tournament because of it, man. There's a lot at large.
It's definitely tough. I mean, when you look at the talent on this side of the conference, um, the guard play at Clark, the size at Morehouse, Benedict, just a really complete, all around, really good basketball team.
And
You
old, like 9 seniors, like so they're not just good, but they come with experience.
absolutely, and then there's you guys with the style and the pace and attacking defense that you play with. Allen will want to get up and down, just
Mhm.
like you guys in this Savannah State, where you talk about their ability and coaching. But even all the way down, we've talked about this too, how talented Albany State and Fort Valley
Yes,
are as well.
yes,
They've got some size and athleticism there as well, but somebody has to be at the bottom of this conference, and it just happened to be those two. But you know,
shoot,
I,
being at
I,
the being the bottom of our conference or division. I mean, this year, I mean, like you said, someone's got to be there, but that ain't it's not a shot being taken. Like this is, I mean, Albany's beating teams. Fort Valley's got 3 conference wins. When you go look at it, they've still beaten good teams in our league. Like you can't take a night off.
100%. If you look at Albany State, at 5-6, uh, they're fourth place if you take them to the West,
Yep.
right? So very good teams on this side of the East. A brutal schedule, but let's go to and recap the Clark Atlanta matchup. We're talking about a game that went down to the final possession. Edward Waters versus Clark Atlanta. You had Clark at home.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of knew how tough it was going to be with a three-headed monster that they have with the Stewart twins and also Chris Martin at the guard spot. But Chris, just kind of talk about that game. Clark Atlanta comes out on top by 175-74. After we get, I won't talk about the official anymore, but tough no call at the end of the game on a Glad Mitchell drive, and that's how the game ends.
It's tough, and it's just always it's the bitter pill to swallow when you're on that end of it. So, it comes with it, but Clark's just, I mean, uber talented. I mean, you got size, 6'9", 6'10", all 5 positions got skill. The 3 guards that are grad transfers, experience, like I mean, that's like you said, a 3-headed monster. And tip of the hat to our guys because they executed our game plan for it really well. And Clark had some guys step up, you know, um, make plays to win that game. And they're the guys they lean on. Their guards made a couple tough shots. I thought they were tough late. Um, but it came down to one possession, and like Coach B and kind of what we always say is make the game come down to makes and misses. Not we should have done this or turnovers this or whatever, whatever it may be. Make it come down to makes and misses, and we did. And we're fortunate. That's one of the few times this year we've been on the other side of it when it's come down like that. But it was was a learning experience, especially for our guys, because I thought they got a lot of success here lately. Um, so the experience of a game like that with a result like that, even though it's hard and a bitter pill to swallow, that also will bring a lot of learning for this last stretch of games going into the conference tournament. And honestly, I think you saw it too. I think that learning experience just flipped over into Monday as well.
Absolutely did. Absolutely did. In that game, before we switch over to Monday's game, but
Yeah,
you saw um, the awakening of Adonis Tolbert, finished with 18 and 10 in that
yeah,
game. Deshaun Edwards also had a great contribution with
hmm
16 points in that game as well. And you needed both of those guys to play
needed.
well in Monday's game against Morehouse. Also, you want to talk about
Yeah.
the maturation of those two guys.
No, I mean Sean. That kid's an older kid. He's just the best way to describe him is he's just a fighter. Like the will, the energy, just he fights. Like nothing easy, nothing looks great, but he just scraps and fights and finds ways to get things done and brings it. I mean, the kid started off the year, playing heavy minutes and hit the bench. Like he got DNP'd for 5 games,
Mm.
but he stayed engaged. And then all of a sudden, he was ready for his opportunity and, took advantage of it. And, we're watching the real blossoming of it, for him, especially these last, not even just 2 games, but it's been going about last 3-4 games. And then Adonis Tolbert, it's good to see it finally. It's kind of been a waiting for it because that kid's been hit with a lot of stuff since off season, from having a major injury to not getting cleared till basically from the injury till basically official practice started in October, to getting another injury that sat him out. And this kid just basically bounced in and out of active and not active for weeks. So it was hard for him to get in shape and get a rhythm. And he's finally gone about a month, coming back from Christmas break, just straight going hard, elevating his game, starting in practice, and it's starting to pay off, big dividends for him. And man, all the guys like couldn't be happier for him, because I mean, you've watched our games. Most of the games we played, we've been without a big, just due to things. So having him comes around just only helps us, especially with the size and athleticism, not just offensively, like you said, with the 18, but rebounded and defensively, which showed up a little bit more in the Morehouse game than the offense that showed up in the Clark game.
For sure. And we'll talk about that Morehouse game, and we'll stick with Adonis Tolbert. Adonis fighting through some foul trouble, but had 3 blocks in that game and some rebounds, some key free throws in
Mm-hmm.
that basketball game as well. When we talk about the free throw line in the Morehouse game, you guys shot 26 of 30
Yep.
in that game. You know, is that a hot night? Does that speak to development and things that you guys are working on, or what does that speak to where you guys can play at that pace and still make free throws?
I mean, it's a development and been work in progress. Obviously, you can still look at numbers. Our free throws are, they're good. They're just okay. Um, but the ability to go every day and practice and play, and practice at the tempo we play, and then the emphasis coaches put on, and all of us have put on, whether it's practice, individuals, whatever it is. Like there's been a serious emphasis on free throws, and I thought again, you just kind of saw the culmination of it on Monday against Morehouse, going 26 for 30, and really hitting some like big ones down the stretch from. And here's the other thing, from people that probably you wouldn't expect, whether to go 2 for 2 or even be in that situation. Case in point, like you said it, Don made some big ones down there.
Yep.
Amari Floyd, who spent most of that game on the bench dealing with issues, and he gets a rebound and gets fouled, and he's got to go to the line down 1 with 14 seconds.
Made them both.
Like this dude's basically been on ice, the whole game and cashed out both of them. So I think it's a testament to development of play style and practicing and developing and putting emphasis on it, but also the growth mentally from our guys. Because that free throw line is a mental game. It's not a skill game. It's a mental game. It's just different. You're used to playing, banging, noise, this, that, and then all of a sudden that game stops and everybody stare at you. It's a mental game. More so, at least to me, it's a mental game more so than it is a skill game. There is a little skill to it, but again, like it's still more mental. Like, can you just lock in, hit your routine, be confident in it, and go down the other way.
100%. We'll take a look here at some of the final moments from that Morehouse game. As you talk about the mental game, how it went silent during the free throws, but it definitely wasn't silent in the jungle for the rest of the game. We'll take a quick look at some of the final moments from that game with Morehouse.
Here we go. We're back for the final 23 seconds of this basketball game. No shot clock. Morehouse will inbound from the far sideline, and the far baseline. They will have to go the length of the floor. 23.3 remaining. A 1-point lead for Edward Waters, and if they get this win at home,
this place is ready to explode.
We'll see. Morehouse will need to get the ball in the hands to Taylor or Lacewell. Well, Lacewell's not on the floor, so we'll see who gets it. We got some 2-3 zones.
Shot clock off, down to 10.
Gray takes the three off the side of the backboard. Corte saves it. Christian Ford has got it. Amari Floyd, and it's over. It's over.
Edward Waters
upsets the Morehouse Tigers, the #1 team in the SEC East, goes down in Jacksonville. What a victory! 79 to 78.
Wow!
The #1 team in the conference goes down to the Edward Waters Tigers.
This place is rocking.
This is the Huff effect. This is why you hire him and bring him to Jacksonville to get you a win like this. It has been an absolute pleasure broadcasting this game for you. Thank you for staying with us here on the BCSN Network. Good night, 79 Waters, 78 Morehouse.
An incredible game, a lot of energy in the building. It was absolutely a monumental contest. Really, I'm just getting my voice back, man. I don't know how you guys coaching a game like that. Just calling it was very difficult. What was it like on the bench and being in that environment all night long?
Man, like, first off, you said you just got your voice back. I mean, if you would have seen our whole staff Tuesday, all day off, man, you want to talk about just exhausted from those two games and close and just, I mean, it took everything out of you. But, man, being on the bench, like we said to the guys, like, these are the games that these are the games you wake up and play for. Like, why you play basketball are these games. And, before I even dig anymore, I have to throw a big shout out to, the football students, the student section down there in that corner, because they bring it every game. They're massively important. But I think that pan of the gym shows you kind of the support that we have. And, again, I want to give it a big shout out to them. People behind the scores tables, our administration, and people, not just athletics, but other parts of the campus. Like, they're standing up, rocking, going crazy. The student band, student section, like, man,
football teams having a lot of fun. They were trying to bring you guys home for sure.
And in a way, like, I guess I speak for me, not the rest other people on staff, but in a way, it helps like when that is going on, it helps kind of tone down the pressure.
Mm.
Because like it's tight, it's all crucial, but at the same time, it's not. I've been around 11 years, been in 3D2 conferences. I've been in gyms where you're in that game and that environment's quiet. So now
Wow.
everything's just like you're living on pins and needles, overthinking things versus like, man, you make your calls, you do that, but man, it's hard to just also be like just so wound up about it.
Mhm.
Like it just makes you like, man, this is the environment. This is the reason why, one of the reasons why you're in games and the business like this. Like, again, in my 10 years, in terms of like atmosphere, like that's like those two games are arguably, top five, top three home environments for my teams, like I've been a part of. And I mean, it was awesome. Like, just again, I guess I look at it different because it's the overwhelming of like the show of support that they show. Again, we're in Jacksonville. There's probably 100 different things going on every night and on a weekend. There's like plenty of other things you can go out and be doing.
For sure.
But to be in that gym and not just be there, because I've been in gyms where it's packed out, but people just there. But to be engaged, to be standing up and like, giving you the full experience of a, home court advantage, like, man, it's special, and that home court can be special. I thought that was the first time this year you really saw, the mantra, welcome to the jungle. Like it just like everywhere you turned in there was people out hounding you, the band coming at you, like, hey, like those people on the other side, they looking around like, hey, this is all we got. This is like, hey, we don't want to tip our toes out a little too far or something might happen. Like, like, hey, like this is crazy. Like, the band across from the visitor bench, you trying to be in a huddle and you got band instruments blaring at you. Like, it's
made for a great environment. You even had the school president there, right there on the sideline, cheering you
Yep.
guys on. I mean, he's getting after it.
No, if you look at that clip, he's behind the scores table and people sitting there dancing. He right there, with them. Like, man, like he cares. Like, he not just talks about it, but he cares and he shows it. Like, there's not many presidents I've been around. I've had a school where a president is visible, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around where nobody in athletics knows who the president is.
Mm.
And then, President Faison here, like, again, big tip the cap. Like, he's not just visible, but like all the athletes know him. Like, if he walked in the gym, like everybody gonna point and know, hey, that's President Faison. And that just says something. And then President Faison will know who every athlete is on what team. Like those are volleyball players. Like he knows them. Like he's engaged, not just hey, I'm here to show my face. How y'all doing? Okay, cool. I did my tour. Like, nah, after the game, he chased us down in the locker room, head to the locker room. Just hey, I just want to say thank you. Yeah, big win. Even for he also knew it meant a little bit more to Coach Huff. So he had to had to congratulate him on that one.
For sure. We know Huff will never tip his hand or any of that, but I love seeing him being able to get that one.
Yeah,
I know they're all special.
They are, but let's be honest. There's, especially us as a staff, all three of us. We actually, in a weird way, all have ties to 1 to 2 teams on our schedule that just mean a little more,
a little something, yeah,
a little something more.
Yeah.
And just to get it for him, like you said, he's not one to, really fluctuate massively in emotions,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like I almost laughed. Probably not the best thing, but I almost laughed, but it was awesome. Like seeing him look like a middle linebacker at a goal line stand, trying to get the crowd,
Getting the crowd
hyped up. Like, man, like this is what it's about right here. Like,
I've been to a lot of games and I've never seen him do that. It was a just everything about that game was a fantastic moment. But to me, I felt like, and I don't know if you guys are feeling this in the locker room, it felt like it was a rise, right? From Saturday, all the excitement from Clark Atlanta, it felt like it continued to build. That Clark Atlanta game goes down to the wire. It was almost as if the fans said, you know what? We're going to bring it even more, right? For this Morehouse game. We're going to bring it even more because that wasn't a rivalry game, but it felt like a rivalry game.
You would have been mistaken thinking both those games were rivalry games, the way that atmosphere was.
Could have been homecoming. Either game.
I mean, you would have thought it was something special. Homecoming, rivalry, you can go down the list, whatever it may be. But like those two environments was like, I mean, one for a Saturday game, like that's like shocking. And then, a Monday night, like, man, like, but it really felt like this weekend was, and we talked to our guys about it, without going too crazy, like, it was a big opportunity for that weekend for our guys. You have two of the better teams in the conference coming in. Like, yeah, we've kind of made some noise, some stir with our record leading up to that point. So people are kind of stirring, but if you look at but everybody's going to sit there and look at the schedule, like, well, they haven't had that. They ain't had the pop yet. That signature win of like, oh, we can take you. We can take you serious in that next level, that jump. And I thought Clark, we made a lot of big strides. And, I'll just speak about it in the locker room and the growth of it. Like, that locker room after the Clark Atlanta game, they were legitimately hurt. Even though it was makes and misses and nothing like crazy, people could call and talk about the foul, no foul, whatever. But despite all that, like they were hurt and they never blamed anybody, but it was just hurt of like, we lost, but we gave it away. Like we should have closed it. And the credit to them, as we said, like your response to that is going to be the determining factor of how good we can be. Because it's been a while that EW's been in probably, and I don't want to speak too generalized because I don't know, I'm not a master of the history here, but like in a game, an environment, a setting, especially jumping to D2, but being able to respond, and really after the 15-minute intermission that came at the 2.5-minute mark of the Morehouse game, you're kind of looking up like, here we go again. The same situation from Saturday.
Yes.
How do we respond? Do we grow from it? Do we make the same mistakes? Like, what is it? And, like credit to, I can't give enough credit to the guys because, again, I always say it when people ask me, like, are you ready for a game? Like, it really doesn't matter how ready I am because I'm not the one dribbling, passing, and shooting.
We'll talk about the guys a little bit. In that Morehouse game, you get a big performance from Goliath Mitchell. He's 7 for 13 from the field, 21 points, 5 rebounds. Christian Ford played extremely well. He's 7 from 12.
Yep.
He's got 19 and 8 in that basketball game. I look at the distribution of the shots. Mitchell is 7 for 13. Christian Ford is 7 for 12. Jamal Quartang is 5 of 12. And you've got 21 points, 19 points, 15 points, and all those guards put up positive numbers in the rebounding column as well, which is where you guys needed a lot of help, and the guards did step in and help in the rebound column as well, and you guys were able to pull out the victory. Tell me about those guys, and are you building in the process of building your own three-headed monster with those three guards of Courtang, Ford, and Mitchell?
I mean, we certainly think so, but it's the mantra we've had all year is like, look, we may not have the big, MVP caliber guy, but dang, we got a lot of things to throw at you from the shed. And you don't know who it's going to be. Like, you can go through all of our games. You just talked about the Albany State game at Albany State. Amari Floyd was our leading scorer.
Yep.
That's changed. There's games where Christian Ford's been our leading scorer. There's been games with Vino Glover been our leading scorer. Again, you just talked about Don Stolberg getting 18. Like, that one just came up. I mean, it's just it's hard to take away one to two single facets of our team, because I think our guys have fully bought into, like, we know where we're going to go to, what our plans are late, shot clock, late game. But man, it could be your night, and if 13 hot tonight, we're gonna make sure he get the ball, ride that out. And then the next night, man, if it's 11, hey, we about to ride that one for the night. Because you can go through the stretch of the year, like, somebody's going to go through a bad stretch and somebody's going to pop up and surprise you on a good stretch. And you got to have that balance, because it's going to happen. So if you don't have guys ready, to make up for those games where your quote unquote better offensive players struggle, like, that's where that's where you as a team is going to struggle. I mean, you can go back to the Tennessee trip. Jeremiah Courtang he had his freshman trip right there. He struggled that trip. And then really, if you want to go to the Lane game more specific, we won the game with Goliath Mitchell spending more time on the bench than any other game before. So we like it because it's you never know who. Like, there's games we don't know. Right? Who's hot tonight? That's not where we're gonna ride. Like, hey, we know what guys can do, know what situations, but you just don't know who's going to be hot. And then once you figured it out, all right, like, poke and prod until that well's dry. Let's move to the next one. And the team's bought into it. And they've bought into, like, it takes everybody. You just said it with the rebounding. Like, everybody's got to pitch in a rebounding. We're arguably the smallest team in the conference. But we're able to keep rebounding close, if not win it, because our guys fight and they understand it takes everybody. I mean, you just said it with the emergence of Sean Edwards. Like, that's another one that's come up. Like, you just never know. And that I think that's one of the things that make us good is our guys have bought into it, and it's hard for teams to kind of, like, scheme and scout for that. Because it's like, yeah, there's teams that have taken away a Goliath, but we've had other people come in, and there's teams that have schemed away K Ford or Jeremiah or whoever, but other guys pick up their slack. But it's also been good because I think everybody truly believes, like, my moment can be at any moment. So how they practice and how they are mentally is I need to stay ready for my moment.
For sure.
And that's been, I think that's been huge. And that's not just player 1 through 5. That's been player 1 through, 12, 13, 14 on the team. Especially with like we talked about earlier, the stretch we're about to enter of 5 games, 10 days, something like that, 5 and 11. Like, I told them one day in practice, like, there's going to be one of these games where somebody we don't expect helps us win a game. And you got to be ready for it.
We'll get into the breakdown here of the Savannah State Tiger game as well. When we talk about Savannah State and you talk about how similar they are, as we take a look at Savannah State's schedule, they got a win over Fort Valley, as did as did Edward Waters. But if you look at the next 3 games, a 1-point loss to Albany State, we're a little familiar with how that goes.
Yep.
Morehouse is a 2-point game at their place. They lose by 2. We got a 1-point victory, so still very, very close game there. And they get a 1-point loss Monday night at home versus Clark. So this is a very, very tough team. 5 and 6 in the SIAC, but as we see, these games could have gone either way.
Yep.
5 and 6 in the conference. What is it? Some of the things that you feel like are going to be keys for us in getting a victory over of Savannah State, which is a really tough team.
I mean, the first 2 things with us, and this is more us than anything, but it's every game, is keeping that rebounding battle close, if not winning it, and keeping our turnovers down. Because we are, again, one of the smaller teams, so rebounding is always going to be a huge, point of emphasis. Turnovers, because, I mean, I know you've seen it, but then seeing it in person, the style and the pace we play at, like, it's easy for that rock to start flying everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to keep that under control, like, those are where it started. And then really, if you go and look at the scores of that Savannah game, all their games are all low scoring. Like, they'll try to, they do some good coaching stuff, do a couple different things, try to trick you up. But at the end of the day, they're going to sit down and guard. Like, their games are all the time high 50s, low 60s. We're not, like, they're kind of training like they only take good shots. Like, they're just going to wait until a good shot happens, and then they're going to go pound the glass. So it's that coach over there has done a really good job this year with it. It's going to be a tough matchup. There's, like you said, not just schedule-wise, but how we play. There's a little similarities, but there's also, some differences that, hopefully we can take advantage of. But again, rebounding, turnovers, and again, kind of like Morehouse, like a couple games is just how we play. The pace of the game? Can we get a upper pace game? We just feel like we're more comfortable than everybody else in this 0 to 200. I don't even want to say 100. Style. I mean, I heard you guys on the call, especially the first night, because it was so shocking. Like, man, it's a missed shot, and Edward Waters is in a press.
That was incredible to see, for sure.
Like, I mean, the pay. So those are going to kind of be the 3 big highlights, and the 3 big things we always harp on, because we feel like if we can do, most of those things, we can make it come down to a make and miss game, which, that's all you can ask for. Have a chance to win and make it a make and miss game.
Well, I want to make sure that everybody makes their way to the Adam Jenkins Community Sports and Music Complex in Jacksonville, Florida. We got a 5 p.m. tip, but please be there 3 p.m. for the women's game. Our Lady Tigers will take on Savannah State. Be there at 3 p.m. for the women's game. It is Coaches versus Cancer night, all night at Edward Waters. So come and support your Tigers as we take on Savannah State. It's going to be a very tough game and a very tough stretch. We're going to need everybody who can be in the building to be in the building. If you cannot, you'll be able to join us on the broadcast. We'll be broadcasting the game live. Myself and David Jones will be on the call, color commentary and play-by-play. We'll have it on the BCSN network, so you'll be able to check that out either on the BCSN website or on the YouTube channel to check out that game. Coach Reedy, did we forget anything to cover? Anything that we want to highlight? Any players that we left off?
Man, I can't think of it, but I'll add more to the Savannah game because, again, our first year here, we're trying to learn everything. We're not, everything's new to us. And we talked about the environment of Clark and Morehouse being, man, homecoming or rivalry. Oh, all week we've had plenty of people come to us and say, "Be ready, Savannah's the rivalry," and
Okay.
they say the gym's going to be rocking. So like we're getting warnings on that, and I'm like, man, if you guys top Saturday and Monday, like, oh Lord, some windows might bust in the Adam Jenkins Center.
It'll be tough to beat, that's for sure. It will be those two games. Now I will be impressed because that Saturday Monday stretch between Clark and Morehouse were tough to beat environment wise. So if they pack it out more than that,
Well, I mean, Savannah's got a couple guys from Jacksonville, so Savannah gonna bring some people, local kids for them gonna come. Like we gonna have our own. They talking about rivalry, so the early, signal flares are. It could be a very packed house.
get your seat early. The women tip off at 3 p.m. Men's game will tip off at 5 p.m. And this has, as we mentioned, a single game. It's the separator for 2, 3, 4 in the conference. A game and a half separates 1 through 5, 1 through 6 in the conference. So every single one of these games matters. So make sure that you're in the Adam Jenkins Center to cheer on your Tigers. We'll need everybody to get us home for sure for that basketball game.
I'll say one thing, and maybe I hopefully this might be a little foreshadowing. The last time I was in a conference race this tight, it was a 5-team finish for first.
Goodness.
Yep.
That could easily be the SIAC East.
And it easily could happen.
Easily could happen.
Yep.
Teams could split home and home at the top of this league.
Now, I ain't gonna lie.
Easily.
Going through that stretch back in the day, it was heart attacks every night. You drop one, you checking scores, you going through scores, you win, you lost, like, phew. But just handle your business.
Make sure you guys watch and be a part of all the action. Try to be there live. If you could be there live, I'm telling you, if you haven't been to a game at home, a home game at Edward Waters in the Adams Jenkins Community Center, do not miss out on that experience. As Reedy said, packed house, the band is there, cheerleaders are there, everything is there. So you make sure it is something that you don't want to miss out on. It is a first-class experience all the way. A great environment to watch a basketball game. So
fun style to watch as well.
But that's our show, and it could be a little bit before we speak again. You guys play on Saturday, then you have a road trip. So I don't know if we'll have a show for next week. So we may not be speaking again until February. But I'll clear that with Coach before we go.
Yeah.
And Huff is chiming in. Absolutely correct. The HBCU softball champions, the Edward Waters Lady Tigers, will receive their rings at halftime of the men's game. So they'll get honors. Championship U.
Hey, we just trying to catch up with everybody else.
Championship U. So come and let's recognize the softball team, the HBCU national champions. The Lady Tigers will receive their rings. So let's make sure that we're all there to honor them as well. So, Reedy, I appreciate the time. Yeah, Huff doesn't stop working, man. Out recruiting and still listening to the show, still commenting and adding to the show. But Reedy, look forward to seeing you.
Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. Let's pack it out on Saturday. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the time. Good night.